Live from Titletown, USA, in the heart of America's Dairyland, it is time for episode number 17 of Rookies Roundup, live from Green Bay. I am Jake Liker. It is currently 10:36 p.m. Central in Green Bay, Wisconsin right now. We are coming to you live from the lovely Ramada Plaza inside a bathroom because my dad is watching the UCLA-Arizona game in the room next to me, and I cannot say I blame him. It should be a good game. Thank you for listening in. If you can't tell by now, my name is Jake Liker, and this clearly means a lot to me because I'm absolutely exhausted. I've been on 2 different flights today, and before I go to bed, though, gotta do a radio show like I promised. So, we're going to talk about what we're going to do tonight. So we're just having a little bit of technical difficulties here. It's not always the smoothest of starts when you're broadcasting from a bathroom. Just posted the link on our Facebook page. Our Facebook page is Rookies Roundup. Rookies Roundup. It's really not that hard to remember considering that you're listening to the show right now. Please like our Facebook page. If you listen to our past shows, you know that I'm always desperate for likes. If you want to call in, well, not that any of you do, so this should not be a problem. According to apparently some technical difficulties we're having, we're not going to be able to have you call in without cutting off our guest, no to order who's going to be in later tonight. But feel free to text me at 310-922-9536. I left my computer charger on the plane, so we gotta get going because I'm running on 36% battery power. But before we do, Rookies Roundup, of course, is a part of the National Sports Network. National Sports Network now has a website, nationalsportsradio.com. Of course, on social media, you can check us out on Facebook at National Sports. You can check us out on Twitter at allcaps National Sports 1 or on Instagram National_Sports. So, welcome. This is our 17th episode. Who'd have thought we'd come this far? And now we're halfway across the country in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Now seems like as good a time as any to welcome in our guest, Noah Taborda. Noah, how are you doing?
I'm good. And of course, as you said, we've been working tirelessly on that website, and we are 1 day away from the official launch. It is already live online, but officially, the official launch, and that will be tomorrow night.
Alright, well, I'm excited, and you guys out there should be too. But speaking of excitement, we've got some great college basketball action to talk about. First, it's no secret that this is a great freshman class. So that's going to be our big topic for college basketball. But first, there are just 3 notes I've got to go over because you can find excitement all across the country in college basketball. In the opening game between Fresno State and UC Irvine in Irvine, the Bulldogs won a crazy one, hit a 45-footer at the buzzer in overtime. You should check that one out too, and if you didn't think it could get any crazier, you're wrong. Dayton defeated IPFW. Just look up Dayton versus IPFW. Again, don't want to stream any videos right now. Again, running on low battery power, but what a crazy finish. They picked off an inbound play, collided to his own teammate. They literally rolled it across the floor and hit a 3 at the buzzer to win. And then Seton Hall played Niagara. This wasn't exactly a spectacular game as it was really comedy of errors. No, if you could take a guess, how many total fouls there were in this matchup between Seton Hall and Niagara?
Well, just because you asked, I feel like it's going to be a really, really high number. I'll say somewhere between 75 total teams at the end.
Did you say 75?
75.
Very close. 73 fouls and a total of 102 free throws attempted between Seton Hall and Niagara. The record still stands, though, of 130, which is held way back in the 50s between Northern Arizona and regular Arizona. But now, on to the main subject. Freshmen we like. Noah, I know you have a personal favorite.
Yeah, my personal favorite is Dante Exum in Australia, but unfortunately he isn't playing overseas. He's playing overseas, but out of the freshmen that ball out inside near the hoop, but he has an outside shot. He's got a mid-range shot. He makes team pay, and he looks very good putting on 23 points in Kentucky's opener.
Yeah, again, the freshmen seem to be shining this far. Julius Randle's looking good. Dante Exum, I'm not going to lie, I haven't heard too much about him, so if he goes big, mad props to you. Anybody else that you've got to keep an eye out for?
Well, of course, Jabari Parker came from Sweden, and unfortunately, my high school had to play against him in the regional championship game, and let me just say, it was not pretty. Well, the first play of the game, he gets the ball, runs through hoop, and dunked over. Basically, he jumped over it, just a little bit short of it. He jumped over a point guard and dunked on it. The game ended up being about a 35-point difference where he put on 40 points. It was just ridiculous. He's such a talented player. And he really, he played well throughout the whole game for Duke. And I expect him to be a very talented player. So I do think that he will be taken lower than most people expected out of high school.
Yeah, he's got such talent. Of course, other guys include Kansas's, of course, Andrew Wiggins, the Canadian, 18 years old. Everyone's been talking about him. Guys already talking about tanking the season in the NBA to get him. You've got the Harrison brothers, Andrew and Aaron. You've got Aaron Gordon. So you've got a lot of strong guys out here. And this guy doesn't count as a freshman. He's a sophomore, but I remember watching him last year, and I just absolutely love him. Marcus Smart, the point guard from Oklahoma State. This guy has serious potential, so keep your eye out for those Cowboys in orange in the Big 12, because Marcus Smart is the real deal. Of course, the UCLA has got a new coach for Ben Howland. It's Steve Alford. I was there for the opener. We had to pull one out over Drexel, and I liked what Drexel brought to the table. They could be a team to beat when it comes to March Madness. So already start looking for your upsets. Drexel could be a good one, especially with coach, high-intensity guy, Bruiser Flint. You gotta love him. And there you go, college basketball. It's still early. There's not too much to talk about. So, of course, there's always going to be more. And we can get you a lot more next week when we officially go underway. But yeah, check out those crazy games. Dayton versus IPFW. What does IPFW stand for? Well, let's look it up right now. Noah, do you have any clue what IPFW stands for?
IPFW? No.
It is Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. IPFW, and it looks like their logo is an elephant of some sort. And of course, UC Irvine, Fresno State, another great game. Check that one out too, but we gotta keep things moving here live from Green Bay. NBA. You're a big NBA guy, Noah. That's no secret. A lot of noteworthy stuff going on. First of all, how about tonight's game between the Celtics and the Heat? Jeff Green, the three at the buzzer, off the inbound with .6 left on the clock. His team trailing by 2. He grabs it in the corner, quick release, 3. The dagger is good. Silences the crowd, and the Celtics go home with a 111-110 win. What's your biggest takeaway from that game?
Well, the Celtics, they're really going to have to rely heavily on Jeff Green, and everybody knew that coming into the year when Rajon Rondo was injured. And at first it looked like he wasn't ready to take, the load and be able to come in and be a solid player. They had 0-4 to start the year, but since then he's picked it up, and they won 3 in a row over the Jazz, the Magic, and now, of course, the Miami Heat. And on the other side of the ball, you look at the Miami Heat, who dropped to 4-3 now, and it seems like they're beating good teams, but they just can't seem to win, and their defense has been porous. Every single game they've lost, they've allowed over 100. Every single game they've won, it's been in the 90s. And they just haven't been able to stop anybody. The Heat don't look like the Heat, I guess. LeBron James playing, not the standards he would like to get, and Wade has played well as well. But it's just not the same Heat. And Boston, they took advantage of their opportunity. They converted, the Heat didn't, and the Celtics won the game.
Yeah, we look we like to look at the little things here at Rookies Roundup, so we gotta, you can't help but wonder. I'm surprised that there has been more talk about this in the mainstream media. Of course, the Heat for training camp practice, I believe it was the Bahamas. Do you think that they're still resting in the Bahamas, and do you think that that could have been a distraction, and maybe this is a contributing factor, or do you think this team is just not the team they used to be?
Well, I think that either of those, they have some, there's some value to them in that, it can be a stretch to go there, and they might not be, but I still think they are the same team. I think they're just off slowly, and I think the Bahamas may have played a factor into it, but they're just not playing at the same level, and I think they will return to that level. I'd be very surprised if they didn't. They've been able to do it against good teams. The Clippers, you saw it, spurts of it where they looked really good. The Bulls in that first game, towards the end against Brooklyn. But for the most part of the season, they haven't shown their true potential. And, they get an easy stretch here. You have Milwaukee, you get Dallas, who has kind of been reborn through Monta Ellis. Charlotte, Atlanta, Paul Millsap, then double header against Orlando, or double two-in-a-row against Orlando, home and away. You have Phoenix, Cleveland, Toronto. And you don't really get an elite team again until they play here in Chicago. So they've really got to take advantage of this stretch and really start to string together wins, because otherwise they could find themselves in a hole.
Yeah, the last thing that he wanted to do is turn themselves into the Steelers of basketball. Beat all the good teams, but, slip up and not give full effort against the teams that you don't exactly circle on the calendar. And on the other side, of course, the Celtics, they don't even have Rajon Rondo back, and it looks like so far they might just be able to roll with the punches. And once Rondo comes back, you know what? Brad Stevens has been able to pull off miracles. Just ask the good people of Butler. Speaking of miracles, the Los Angeles Lakers, without Dwight Howard, without Kobe Bryant, and a hobbled Steve Nash, are still finding a way to get it done. This time, it's Steve Blake, who earlier against the Rockets, Dwight trying to get vengeance against his former team, the LA Lakers. It looked like they were going to do it right until the very end. Steve Blake, the three, with 1.3 to go, and that sealed the deal. Final score, Lakers 99, Rockets 98. What are the implications from this game?
Well, first of all, the Lakers, I'm not sure what I see in them. They beat their Clips and you're like, wow, this team is actually good. Lose to the Warriors, just destroy 125-94. Then they compete with San Antonio, but lose. They beat Atlanta and Paul Millsap, so they're able to pull off a good victory. Dallas, they get slaughtered by. Then they end up Houston, and they get beat by New Orleans. And this is the fear that all Lakers fans have, that they can't win more than one in a row, but they can't lose a lot either. And they end up with that pick that, though it is still a quality player, because this year's draft is very talented, it's not an Andrew Wiggins, it's not a Julius Randle, it's not a Jabari Parker, it's not a Dante Exum. It's more like a lower-level player, or a Quentin Ross, maybe if they get lucky, at Andrew Harrison. But I don't know what to see, but the implications on the other side, you look at Houston, and this team is now 4-3. They lost to the Clippers for the second time in a row. They can't seem to get a win anymore. They started off the year 3-0. And then since that Clippers game, they've lost 3 times to LA teams. Clippers twice and LA once. So it seems that LA is their bad luck charm. Luckily, they're not going to get an LA team for a very, very, very long time until January 8th. So maybe they'll win every single game up until then, though it is unlikely.
Yeah, it's no secret that I'm a big LA Lakers fan, and you know what? It seems like there's a light at the end of the tunnel for this team, which is really surprising. This is a statement season. This team is trying to prove we are more than just Kobe. It's not often that the Lakers and the Celtics can really relate to each other, but I think both teams got to respect what the other is doing, because they are going up and beating good teams and making statements without their star players for the first half of the season. And, kudos for rolling with the punches, and guys are stepping up and making these big shots. Again, Jordan Hill has really just been a vacuum when it comes to offensive rebounds and defensive rebounds, too. So, you know what? The Lakers are looking good, and the Rockets clearly need to get back on track. Moving on, The Indiana Pacers, a certain Pacers team that I know you're not the biggest fan of, but I certainly am, and they have not disappointed me so far. They win again tonight over the Nets in the Barclays Center, and they remain undefeated. What's your takeaway from the Pacers staying undefeated, and, could this be a championship team?
Well, I'm going to own up to my prediction that I made 2 weeks ago when I said the Bulls were going to beat them in the routine. And I hope the Bulls do change my mind on this, but the Indiana Pacers are dramatically better. And I will say one thing, that on my prediction, I did say that I don't know if Paul George is ready. Well, he is ready to be a star. And he has led this team, of course, to setting a record. And what's ridiculous about this season conference is the next best team is 4-3. I mean, how are you supposed to play and be 4-3 and still compete? Like Miami 4-3, Atlanta 3-3, Philadelphia 4-3, Charlotte is up there, Toronto is up there, Boston is up there. You see New York down there. Brooklyn is in last place. Nothing is going right in that conference except for Indiana, who's cruised basically through most of their games. The Bulls looked like they were going to beat them, and the Bulls really did compete. But in the fourth quarter, Indiana was too much. In the fourth quarter of the Brooklyn game, Paul George took over. He has been phenomenal. He is making his case for MVP as well, putting himself up there with LeBron and KD. And how it looks right now, they could be a definite title contender.
Bold statements from Noah, and I have to agree with you, not so much about the MVP thing. I'm not quite ready to commit to that yet. But they're playing like they're the best team in the NBA, and it shows in the record book. They still have a 0 in the loss column, and just wait till they get Danny Granger back. This is a scary team, and they're one of the last teams I'd like to face right now in the playoffs. But I still want to stick with the Thunder right now. You don't want to overlook Kevin Durant. But, worst case scenario, they get more experience in the playoffs, and they could be a favorite next year to win the whole thing. Very bright future for the Pacers and their fans. But you mentioned the Knicks and how nothing seems to be going right for them. It only gets worse. Tyson Chandler is out for 4 to 6 weeks. Do you think this is gonna hurt? How much do you think this is gonna hurt the Knicks?
Well, I look at the Knicks, and I saw them play. I was watching the game. I saw what we did against Chicago, and it didn't look good for the Bulls. And of course, Derrick Rose is a floater, and that's just the epitome of the Knicks right now. They can't catch a break. Every time it looks like they are going to do something right, they're starting to move forward, it doesn't happen. They lose Tyson Chandler, as you said, and that's a master shot, They are able to come back and, try to make things interesting against Minnesota, but Minnesota closes out that game. Then you go against Charlotte, and it's a tight game all the way, and they are unable to pull it off. And then in Charlotte, it was yesterday. They won the game by 10, but nothing's been going right for them. And without Tyson Chandler, you look at this team, and it doesn't look that great. You're going to have to put Andrea Barciani starting. Amon Shumpert now will have to starting at small forward, and he's slightly undersized for that position. Paolo Prigioni starting. Shumpert is 6'5". You go over into LeBron, he's going to get killed. So this is not the matchups they want now, and the Knicks are really looking weak right now. It'll be interesting to see them play tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern against the Spurs. I expect the Spurs to come out there and just slaughter them.
I completely agree. And Amari's hurting. J.R. Smith is going to be coming back soon, I believe. But you know what? The Knicks are looking like a sinking ship right now. Something needs to change, and the rest of the league is watching on pins and needles about what is the future for Carmelo Anthony. This doesn't look like a very great season thus far. If the Knicks want to hold on to their star player, they better turn things around and fast. And speaking of turnarounds, the Philadelphia 76ers, we asked last week, are they for real? We were admittedly skeptical, but Michael Carter-Williams is stepping up. Hawes is looking good. Evan Turner looked great, scored over 30 points tonight, and a double overtime loss to the Cavaliers. Again, with so many good teams struggling, and the teams at the bottom slowly rising to the top, do you think the Sixers could be a playoff team, or are you still convinced that there's just not enough talent on this roster?
Well, since that show, they are 1-3. I don't care if it's against the Warriors, they won their losses, the Wizards in Cleveland, all playoff teams. They are 1-3. And that's the record, and the record is now 4-3, and they have slipped a little bit. They were winning tight games, but now they're losing games, and they're losing them by 14, by 20, and then today, a very tough game. Michael Carter-Williams hits a three with 11 seconds left to tie it up. And of course, who else but Kyrie Irving wins the game for them? And now you look at the schedule, and things might go from good to bad, because they get San Antonio on Monday, they get Houston on Wednesday, Atlanta on Friday, and then they get New Orleans and Dallas. Both teams have played pretty well before you get Toronto, Milwaukee, but then Indiana. So I don't know if Philadelphia has to get, because despite some of the teams that haven't played well, I still think that there are a couple of teams better than them. But if New York can't rebound, maybe the 76ers take advantage of that and sneak in above them for that playoff spot.
No, I'm going to have to actually disagree with you on this one. This is starting to look like the dawn of a new era in the city of brotherly love. The AI era is over. They've had quite a few transition years. Michael Carter-Williams could just be the savior of this team. I know it's ironic how often we bash Philly fans for dubbing guys as their savior, but that's Eagles fans, and the Sixers are looking like a whole different story. And Evan Turner continues to progress. Spencer Hawes, what an underrated player. Physical, definitely racking up double-doubles. This team in the East, they could absolutely be a playoff team. I see them as a 7 or 8 seed, but I don't see them getting anywhere past the first round. Hopefully they'll prove me right. I mean, it's impossible not to root for this team. I mean, is it fair to say that you're rooting for the Sixers?
Yeah, I hope they do well.
Yeah, everyone loves an underdog. And speaking of underdogs, the Cleveland Cavaliers, right on cue, and new eras. Anthony Bennett was supposed to be their savior. They shocked quite a few people with when they picked him first overall out of UNLV. And he's not exactly having the effect they would have hoped for. I believe he has totaled 5 points in his first 6 games. What is wrong with Anthony Bennett, and would you trade him away at this point?
No, you're not going to trade him away. I mean, once again, we are 2 weeks in? No, not even 2 weeks in, probably. So I think we got to just relax and say, look, the season is young. This is a young player. He will get better. But just really quickly, I want to make one last comment on the 76ers. They are making a massive mistake by winning. I don't think they realize they're about to miss out on Andrew Wiggins, on Julius Randle, on Jabari Parker, and this team will end up with a player that is not of the same caliber. And if they miss the playoffs, they will regret it. I think coaches, players will say, you know what, we played hard. Management is going to be a little disappointed that they couldn't get a better pick. I just don't think that they will make it. Honestly, I root for them to win, but at the same time, I hope they lose so they can become a better team through a player. But back to the Cavaliers. Don't trade Anthony Bennett. He is a young player, and you are a good team. You could be a playoff team. And despite Anthony Bennett struggling through most of the year, he hasn't gotten much kick. And when he does play, he has been okay. Scoring-wise, bad, but he has been okay. And I think that as time goes on, he'll progress and become a better player.
First, I appreciate that you have the patience, and I think that Cleveland really does need to. It's a young season. He's a young guy, but I don't see too much potential in him. I'm sorry. I want him to prove me wrong. I want Cleveland to get back there. I want Cleveland to win it all without LeBron. And I think Kyrie Irving is a superstar. But Bennett's not cutting it. And you know what? It's okay if he doesn't, because as you mentioned, there's a great draft class coming up. But with Philadelphia, I completely disagree. They need to win games. If they can win games and make it to the playoffs with this team, then they are miracle workers. They can do it without Jabari Parker. if they can find a way to make things work with this roster, I'm sorry, but the possibilities are endless for them. So our last... Yeah?
I just don't think that they have what it takes to make the playoffs, and I think that, people say, that they have the potential to do this and to be near towards it, but, they have won the game, sure, but I look at the teams in the league, and, you can count them off. You can go Miami, Indiana, Cleveland, or, not Orlando, Detroit, Brooklyn, Chicago, they lost to Washington, but maybe they sneak in there. But even if they do, are they going to make it past the first round? And I don't think that their roster, development-wise, is enough to end up becoming a really good team because, they don't want to just become a team that competes in the playoffs. They want to be a team that wins the championship. And you don't win the championship with a team that drafts 14th every year. You just can't do that. And that's what the Sixers were doing when they had Iguodala, when they had all of those players. They kept getting 6 seeds or 8 seeds, and they never could get out of the first round. And the draft picks weren't high enough to really have an impact for them. And I fear that they'll end up right back in that same track.
I disagree. I think the 76ers are earning respect. They are earning experience. They are really building confidence. This is a character-building year, and when you've got young guys, you can have all the talent in the world, but if you can build character and you can give them this winning experience, if you can give them the confidence to know how to win, I think that's invaluable, and to say that they should be losing games is preposterous. Greg Popovich, for our final topic, said about the Warriors that, quote, they're for real. I respect Greg Popovich and I respect the Golden State Warriors, but Noah, do you think that the Warriors are for real? Is this a, dare I say, championship-winning team? How far could they go?
Saying championship, I'm not ready to commit to that. They are a real team. It's just that every team in the Western Conference so far has been ridiculously good. The only bad teams are Sacramento, Denver, and Utah. Every other team, in my opinion, has played well. The Lakers have played well, Memphis, New Orleans, Dallas, Golden State, Houston. If you keep going up that list, have all played well. Obviously, Minnesota, one of the teams that I was high on, playing very well as well, and that just makes it that much more difficult. I think there are 8 teams, really, that are for real in the Western Conference. I think San Antonio is for real. I think Oklahoma City is for real. I think Minnesota is for real. I think Portland is for real. How they've been playing right now. The combination of Lillard and Aldridge has been basically unstoppable. Clippers, I think they're for real. I think Houston's for real. I think Golden State is for real. But they're all for real playoff teams. The NBA teams, NBA championship teams, there are only 2 teams right now that have proven it to me, and that's San Antonio and Oklahoma City.
Yeah, I absolutely love the Warriors. I think that really the missing piece to the puzzle for them was defense. I think that they're the most entertaining team to watch in the NBA, besides, of course, the Clippers. Well, I'm not entertained by them. I just sort of eternally loathe them. So it's biased that I think that the Warriors are the most exciting team to watch. I love the Splash Brothers, and Iguodala is really turning this team around. This guy has been underrated. He's lived in AI's shadow for a while. He came to Denver. They didn't do enough, apparently. And now he's here, and he's finally getting the respect that he deserves. The sky is the limit for the Golden State Warriors. But the problem is they're in the Western Conference, and they have to deal with the Oklahoma City Thunder and the San Antonio Spurs. And I still don't think that they're ready for that. So I'm going to say this is not the year for them, but in years to come, oh boy, look out for Golden State. This team is winning at least 1 title in the next 7 years. That's what I'm going to say.
It's a bold prediction. And I think when you look at Andre Iguodala, I don't think he's turned the team around. They don't already turn around, but what he's done is propel them to another level where now, they competed with San Antonio in the series, but now they're not going to compete. They're going to push them. They're going to push them to the point where San Antonio and other teams will begin to doubt themselves. Because this team, as you said, could win a title in the next 7 years. You look at the team, and besides the center position, they have players that will come in off the bench. You got Tony Douglas who will be coming in. Ted Bazemore, he's a is one, offensive is really not that great. But then at the power forward position, you've got Pacers, Draymond Green. This team looks good and primed for the future. So I agree with you about this not being their year, but as you said, they do look good in the years to come.
Yep. Well, that finishes up our college and pro basketball segments, but we move from the hardwood to the gridiron. It's only appropriate that we're in Green Bay. You can't not talk about football when you're in Green Bay. I mean, I had people be like, "Oh, you're going to Green?" Like I tell them I'm going to Green Bay, and they're like, "Oh, is there a Packer game going to the Green Bay?" And like I almost want to roll my eyes at them. Like I'm not trying to be mean, but it's like, no, I'm going to Green Bay to tour the dairy farms. I mean, there's nothing else to do in Green Bay, and you just gotta love the people here. I mean, we just went downstairs to get a pizza. That's why we started a little late. And we bring it back from the room, and in walks this guy from Texas. Big African-American guy, huge white top hat, big white furry coat, carrying around a boombox, and he's all packered out. And I had a picture with him. I'm definitely posting it on the page when we are done. But such great people up here, great football up here. Everyone is dedicated to their Packers. Really, there's just not another city on earth like it that is just completely devoted to their football like Green Bay is. And I got a lot of respect for this city. I got a lot of respect for this team. But to earn your respect, you gotta make the pros. And to do that, you have to go through college football, which is exactly what we're going to talk about right now. As a loyal UCLA Bruin fan, I am missing this game because I want to do this show. And I'm looking at the computer screen in front of me right now, and I'm thrilled to see that UCLA is winning against Arizona in Arizona, 24-10. We had some other action today that we will get to, but first let's start on Thursday. What a great Thursday lineup that was. You had two primetime games. You had Oregon against Stanford, two top 5 teams in the Pac-12, and you got Baylor versus Oklahoma. So let's start with Baylor, Oklahoma. Baylor trying to prove that they really are the best offense in the NCAA, and they proved it. They got over the hump. They beat a statement opponent in Oklahoma. So when you talk about are they for real? Noah, are the Baylor Bears for real? Because they're looking pretty hard to stop these days.
Oh, they have looked terrific. And when I talk about Oklahoma, my second favorite college is Texas. So I hate Oklahoma. I don't really mind Baylor. I've always liked them. And, of course, they have greatest running back names. They have Glasgow Martin. They have Lake Seastrom and Sock Linwood. And that's not the best three-player combination. All of the same position on one team. For names, I don't know what it is. But Baylor have looked amazing. And Brent Teddy is throwing himself into the Heisman mix. And the game I am looking forward to is Saturday, December 7th, against Texas. We're now 6-0 in the Big 12 after knocking off West Virginia in overtime. They'll play Oklahoma State and Texas Tech. And if Texas can win those two games, that will be the showdown possibly of the year. But for Baylor, I gotta look at them and say that their offense has been tough, but have they played a team that is at the same level as a Stanford and a Oregon, and that is hurting them a lot, just like it's hurting Ohio State. So Ohio State and Baylor in similar situations where the undefeated record is hurting them because of the quality of their conference.
Yeah, Baylor, I've liked them for a while, but I didn't see this coming. I didn't see such a great start. They have played the strongest opponents. I think Texas is going to be that upset game, but let me tell you, if they beat Texas, the BCS, their job is not done. They might be cheering after a working loss, but let me tell you, if it comes down to Baylor, Florida State, and Ohio State, all undefeated at the end of the year, and of course Alabama. I mean, if Alabama loses, you've got Baylor in Big 12, you've got Ohio State in Big 10, and Florida State in the ACC. Remove bias, Noah Taborda, you big Ohio State Buckeyes fan. Can you honestly tell me who would win and who would really move on to the championship game between those two teams?
Oh, wow, that destroy Buffalo. It's very close between those two teams. But the difference for me is, one, experience in coaching, where Urban Meyer, he has the edge over basically everybody in the country. You can see Nick Saban has a lot of experience as well, but Urban Meyer is a terrific coach. This team deserves to be in the national championship game if it comes down to them versus Baylor, because this will be the second straight year they have gone undefeated, and the past 2 weeks they have turned it on, 63-14, 56-0. They just started destroying these teams. It'll be very interesting to see, and this is why you do need that playoff system, because if it does come down to it, and I don't think it will, but if it does come down to it, it is almost impossible.
I don't think the Big Ten is strong enough that would propel Ohio State in front of another undefeated team. I don't think it's going to come to that, but if it did, I think Baylor would get that spot over Ohio State because of their late strong games in the season. I don't think it's going to come down to that. I think Alabama's losing to Auburn. I think Baylor's going to lose to Texas, so I still have to stick with Ohio State over Florida State in the championship game, but you got to be sweating right now if you're a computer at the BCS or whoever's putting the numbers in there. Computers can't sweat, obviously. Forgive me. It's late and I'm broadcasting from a bathroom in a, kind of rundown hotel in Green Bay, but I wouldn't rather be anywhere else. I gotta say, Ohio State over Florida State, I'm not changing that. But it's too bad Oregon lost, because I was really holding out for a prospect of Baylor and Oregon playing each other in a national championship game. That'd be one of the greatest of all time. That would truly be a grand finale for the BCS.
Yeah, I think it would be a very great offensive game. And defensive, actually, because I think that Oregon actually would end up I think that they would end up being able to hold them defensively, because I think that Baylor hasn't played up against a terrific defense yet. You look at their schedule, honestly, they haven't played a good defense. You look at the teams, they've played basically subpar defensive teams. They destroyed Kansas State. They scored, 69, 41, 71. These teams are not good defensively. And, the Texas game, they might lose there, but they might lose next week against Texas Tech. They might lose the week after that against Oklahoma State. Two teams that are much better defensively than the teams they have played in the past. So, I look to see whether or not they will be able to win the games against the better teams.
Yeah, sadly, I think the buck stops here for Baylor's undefeated run, but I'm definitely going to be rooting for them. Now, Oregon, to the other side. Oregon against Stanford. This was a big game, no doubt. This was supposed to be one of the matchups of the year. And Stanford came away with the win, surprisingly, 26-20. Oregon came up one miracle short of a comeback that would have been ingrained in everyone's memories for a long time. So Stanford looks in good position to win the Pac-12 North now. What do you take away from this one?
Well, I look at this, and Marcus Mariota has just lost himself in Heisman, barring he collapsed from either Jameis Winston or Johnny Manziel. And it is tough for Oregon. Second straight year, they're seeing their title hopes go down against Stanford. You can see the emotion on the players' faces. But, Marcus Mariota very upset, off the wide receiver, very upset. He was in tears on the sideline. And then there's just that one guy just standing up, Anthony Thomas, smiling. Honestly, I would hate that if I saw him smiling, but he was smiling. But that's kind of weird, but they end up losing the game. And they're all their title hopes against our team that worked so hard to get to this point, have such nice facilities. But obviously the facilities are not changing anything. They lose. And on the Heisman talk, I think that Mariota I think that Johnny Manziel after this week has propelled himself to first. I don't think Winston had a good enough week. He didn't play very well actually in that drubbing over Wake Forest. So I give the man know at this point.
It's got to be really frustrating to be an Oregon fan at this point. Stanford is straight up beating teams at the line. Their offensive line and their defensive line, both sides of the ball, they're just overpowering guys. I did not think anyone would be able to shut out Oregon for the first 3 quarters, but if anyone could do it, Stanford could. And Coach Shaw, by the way, there are going to be some vacancies in NFL head coaching jobs in the near future, and he is going to be a top prospect for some of those vacancies. Moving on from Thursday, after a big shakeup but toward the top, Miami lost today to Virginia Tech in Coral Gables, as a matter of fact. The 11th ranked team, I believe, lost 42-24, so they fall again. Now, the Pac-12 South has become a very interesting story. You have UCLA, you have USC, Arizona, Arizona State. Right now, Arizona State is atop that conference with only 1 in-conference loss, followed by USC. Then it's Arizona, and then it's UCLA. Arizona and UCLA playing each other right now. UCLA, of course, coming off back-to-back losses before the win against Colorado last week. Back-to-back losses against Oregon and Stanford. Brutal schedule, but last year they were undefeated in the Pac-12 South. Not Carl. I mentioned Oregon, and I was saying not Carl. Noah, how does this go down in the Pac-12 South? Because, everyone thought this was the UCLA's, but you know what? While they do control their own destiny, they have to win out. You think they'll be able to do that, or do you think somebody else is going to be meeting, in all likelihood, Stanford in the Pac-12 championship game?
Well, here's the thing. The game that decides it all in the Pac-12 South is coming up soon. It is in 2 weeks. And I know, Jake, that you probably have this game circled in your calendar. There's Arizona State at UCLA, at the Rose Bowl. It's going to be a massive game, and I think the winner of that game will go on to play against Stanford in that Pac-12 championship for a spot in the Rose Bowl. But, to look at Arizona State, they do have Oregon State next week, Sean Mannion, so that is a tough challenge. And on UCLA's side, they already have 2 losses, which makes it so they really have to beat Arizona State. And they do have Washington, who really did drop off later on in the year, but it is not a gimme for UCLA. It is not a gimme for Arizona State. It's going to come down to the wire.
Yeah, it's been proven this season there are no gimmies for anybody, no matter what conference you are, no matter what your prestige you have. The blessing in disguise for here, and my dad was mentioned this to me, and he made a good point. This is going to keep Brett Hundley around, it looks like. After back-to-back losses against Oregon and Stanford, this might just be, you know what, you're not ready for the NFL, stick around, and then they could have a really big year next year. Without bias, what I did see against UCLA, Arizona, what I have seen them play against other teams, all they have to do is get better in the red zone, which I think that they can do, and if they throw the ball more, I think that they can do that. They're starting to get back into a rhythm. I think UCLA can win the Pac-12 South. I don't see them beating Stanford. I think Stanford's just too overpowering at the line. But I think UCLA can win the Pac-12 South. I mean, watching Miles Jack, he's a defensive player, and today, right now, he's playing on offense. He's playing on both sides of the ball. Such versatility, it's really rare to find these days. That is the definition of just that athlete label in a college football prospect. So I'm going to take UCLA in the Pac-12 South, and I certainly hope against hope that I am right. And for our final college football topic, I'm actually down to 11% battery on my laptop, so I'm going to try and speed this up just a little bit. Alabama made that easy for me because we would have had a lot to talk about at LSU. Kept it close. They won, but Alabama ran away in the fourth quarter, proved what they are the number 1 team, winning over LSU 38-17. Quick reactions, Noah, from this game.
Well, Nick Saban, in an interview after halftime, that they played after halftime, he basically said what he did. He said, we are going to run the ball. We're going to control the offensive line. And that's exactly what they did. And once again, they have proven that Alabama has the best college running back in a row that you can possibly have. In Mark Ingram. You had Mark Ingram and Eddie Lacy. And Eddie Lacy and TJ Yeldon, and you had TJ Yeldon and Kenyon Drake. And Kenyon Drake was the star of this game, despite not scoring, I think, any touchdowns. But he did play very well. And this team controlled the trenches. And the more they ran, the more out of hand it got. And it followed script. The past 5 winners of this game have been people, that have been the team that leads in rushing yards. And, you know, Alex didn't have the rushing yards it needed. They couldn't get a run game started. And once Alabama decided to go out there and run the ball and run it consistently, it was game over.
Yep, Alabama again proving that they really are the dynasty and that they have earned that label. 10% battery left on my laptop, so we are racing against the clock. It is down to the home stretch. But again, we are in Green Bay, so we have to talk about the NFL. Remember that huge announcement I mentioned on the Facebook page? You probably don't, considering that our likes actually went down by 2 in the past week. But you should listen in. We talk about a lot of stuff, and we're going to have a great post of me and this crazy Packer fan from Texas later tonight, as soon as the show is over, actually. So, again, more of the story like the Facebook page. But the huge announcement, something me and Carl Milkline worked very hard on, and couldn't make it tonight, or at least not yet. I guess the time just didn't work out for him, so I just don't feel like it will be fair to announce it without him. But it is a good job to keep people interested for next week. The huge announcement has been to wait till next week. I will give you one word, and it's not going to help you at all. Lamafocac. Lamafocac. It means nothing to you yet. Find out Thursday. Hopefully, if we can do a show on Thursday live from Boston as our Coast to Coast tour continues for Rookies Roundup. Picks will be posted tomorrow morning. We really got to speed things up. And so, because we are in Green Bay, how about a Packers preview tomorrow night? I'm a Packer fan, you're a Packer fan. We know a lot about this team. They're sticking with Seneca Wallace, at least for now. Ted Thompson said earlier today that any problems with backup quarterback ball on his shoulders. So, tomorrow, the Packers play the Eagles. What do you expect in this game, and who do you think comes away with the W?
Well, I expect the Packers will come away. Because I have confidence in them, and it's not because I have confidence in Seneca Wallace. Because, honestly, I wish I did, but I don't, and I hope that he does regain my confidence. And I know as a Packers fan, I should have confidence in him. Unfortunately, I just don't have the confidence in him. But I have confidence that Eddie Lacy will play well. I have confidence that defense can pick it up against LaShawn McCoy and hold him. And I don't expect Nick Foles to play well because, honestly, Nick Foles so inconsistent, and it's just impossible to expect him to go out there and throw 7 touchdowns again. And Eddie Lacy now, he has his shot to basically take over the Rookie of the Year #1 without a question. He's already in the top 10 in rushing yards this season. And once he has his opportunity to just completely take over a game, he is going to do some amazing stuff, and this is his opportunity against the poor Eagles defense. If he can put up 150 yards, he will put himself, without a question, as the definite #1 in the Rookie of the Year race.
Yeah, saviors seem to be a trend on this show. When you talk about saviors, look no further than Eddie Lacy, who has really resurrected this Packers run game. We haven't seen like this since, even before Ryan Grant. You probably have to go to back to the days of Amon Green to see running like this. It's impressive, and they like it here in Green Bay. So with the backup quarterback dilemma, you have Seneca Wallace, and you don't like Seneca Wallace here. You have other options. Former Wisconsin quarterback was called up in the practice squad earlier this week, Scott Tolzien. There's been buzz that the Packers are going to contact Matt Flynn sometime next week. Where do you turn here? Because there's a lot of ways to go. You can go Tebow. You can go Vince Young. What do you do?
I will see first if Seneca Wallace plays well. If not, you contact Matt Flynn, you have to ask yourself, is he worth the money, or is he an institution? Is he good enough to play backup quarterback? He got beat out by the backup of the Bills. Jeff Toole is the 3rd stringer. So if he's a 4th stringer, should he be playing? Even if he did set the records for the Packers, was it because of how right there why the receiver core was. Because the depleted core, I think if Seneca Wallace doesn't play well, it's not worth paying Matt Flynn anything. I think you just go to stop Tolzien. I think you trust in the guy that you obviously saw something in because they did extend his contract. They did raise his salary for the practice squad. But I think Seneca Wallace is the way to go, even though I don't have confidence in him right now.
I have to have confidence in Seneca Wallace at this point. General manager of the Packers, Ted Thompson, has very rarely made a misstep in his years here. He was the one who drafted Seneca Wallace when he was back with Seattle. It's just a testament to Ted Thompson, really one of the most underrated GMs in the game, and the Packers attribute so much success to him, and he deserves it all. He really wrote the method to the madness in this case. 50 of the 53 players on this Packers roster have never played for another team. So if Ted Thompson says that Seneca Wallace is the direction we're going to go, then you know what? Seneca Wallace is the way we're going to go. In Ted we trust, as we like to say here in Green Bay. He has earned my respect. If Ted Thompson says he wants Seneca Wallace, then I'm going with Seneca Wallace. And I think he will play well enough. And if he doesn't, it's fine. We can start handing it off to Eddie Lacy. Mike McCarthy's proven in the past that clearly he has no problem handing it off no matter who is at quarterback or who's running back, for that matter. So it'll be interesting to see the Packers perhaps finally turn into a running team. Definitely a game of firsts tomorrow. And this is the first time Packers starting quarterback is missing consecutive games since before 1992 when Brett Favre came in. Seneca Wallace is just going to be the fourth starter in the past 20 years for the Packers. It's been Rodgers, Flynn, Favre, and now Seneca Wallace. 6% on the battery for my laptop. So, of course, the sports story that has rocked the sports world, Richie Incognito and Jonathan Martin. You know, I really went off on a tirade last week about how much I really loathe Richie Incognito. And while his teammates seem to be defending him, he's clearly nothing but trouble. He kicked out of Nebraska. I mean, he's had all these issues before. There is no question that this man has problems and needs help. I mean, it's now come out that he holds his offensive line meetings at strip clubs and quote-unquote finds players who don't show up. Martin had to pay $15,000 for a Vegas trip that he didn't even want to go on, but felt like he was pressured to do so for fear of retribution. Of course, I'm not even going to read the quote from that voicemail because it's just so horrible and it's been heard so many times, but it was basically, I'm going to bleep in your bleep, 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 I'm going to kill you. Really, that's all you need to know. It was racist, it was dangerous. I'd be scared. Jonathan Martin has checked himself actually into a, not really a mental hospital, but something like that. There seem to be more layers to this than we think, though. Jonathan Martin, I mean, I just didn't really imagine that the teammates would defend Incognito. What's your takeaway from all this?
Well, I honestly have no idea what to think of all the things that have happened. You saw, at first, everybody was like, oh, well, it's not Incognito did all these bad things. Then the team comes and defends him. And then you're sure now saying, well, he's a bad person. Dolphins made a mistake by trying to, they took the risk on him and it didn't turn out right. And no matter really how this turns out, it's just not good for football in any way. It's bad, you don't want to see this ever, no matter who is right or who is wrong. I don't know how it's going to turn out. It's just kind of an embarrassment for football, and they really are going to have to look to get their image back.
Yeah, there seems, again, to be layers to this. Now we're finding out that, wide receiver Brian Hartline's upset because he said that Jonathan Martin was going around showing the voicemail to all his teammates, laughing about it. Incognito says he felt betrayed. Tannehill says that if you had asked Martin who his best friend on the team was 2 weeks ago, he would have said Incognito. Incognito was like an older brother to him, and on and on and on. So clearly a very complicated situation, but I have to say this. Bullying does not just stop at the playground. Clearly, there should be no tolerance for this in a professional workplace, football or otherwise. It is just sad. This man has no business being in this organization. And general manager Jeff Ireland, I think his time is up in Miami. It's red mark after red mark, and I'm done. I'm fed up with this whole thing, and he's just shown that he's not a responsible general manager. I don't think he has what it takes to handle a situation like this, and he could have prevented it, and he did not. I mean, he said that Jonathan Martin should have punched Richie Incognito after this. It's just such a frustrating thing. I'm down to 4% now, so we really got to get a move on. Quick opinion on hazing. What do you think? A lot of teams see it as a bonding experience. Do you think it's time for hazing to go, or do you support it?
Well, I think that hazing, it's bad basically at every level except for the best. I mean, you will get punished, if you really do something bad. I think, doing the roots traditions and all those things, of having to carry their helmets, all that's fine. Maybe sometimes making them do stuff, all for from a wagon. Too much. It's not good for anybody. And I think that you have to control yourself. So, if we're going to do initiation, make it more like traditional, fun things that aren't going to get anybody hurt.
I think Sports World gave football an inch, and they took him. I think hazing needs to stop. I think it hurts team cohesiveness. It makes rookies feel like they don't belong. It is not a rite of passage. It has set the wrong message, and it needs to end. I think hazing, it's done. It has run its course. And I'm glad to hear that the Packers do not tolerate hazing at all in their organization. Quick thing, and I literally need you to just say one word because I got to wrap up pretty quickly. Vikings got a nice comeback over the Redskins at home. They scored 20 unanswered to end the game. Christian Ponder got injured, and so the question, of course, now is who is number 2 in this lineup, Freeman or Castle? They put in Matt Castle. One word and a quick explanation, Noah. Who would you put in if Christian Ponder is not an option, Josh Freeman or Matt Castle?
I put Josh Freeman. You're taking the money, so give him another shot. One game is not enough.
I completely echo those words. This guy deserves a chance. He just can't catch a break. But again, Jacksonville, just call him up. I'm sure he'd be happy. He just wants a starting job at this point. He is being really just disrespected at this point. I think Freeman deserves to be in. I mean, even a hobbled Ponder is still being considered to be a starter, perhaps start in the next matchup for the Vikings. And with that, we've finally done. So we move on very quickly to awards. Honorable mentions, of course, this is a tradition, the 17th time in a row. At the end, we always give an MVP award, a facepalm award, and a sympathy vote. Honorable mentions, because this was a tough race, I gotta say, but speaking of tough races, Big Papi, David Ortiz himself, was finished 3rd in the Boston mayoral election. A very popular write-in vote. Can't blame the people of Boston. Very charismatic guy, has done a lot for that city, to be honest. Cortland Finnegan, the defensive player on the Rams, has some nice kicks. His Air Jordan cleats, really nice Rams logo. You should check that out. Just look up Cortland Finnegan cleats. They were pretty cool. A Washington Wizards fan showed up to the game at the Verizon Center in the Hogwarts jacket on his back. I don't know if you realized, but this is just such sweet, sweet irony. I loved it. I'm all for bad puns, and I thought that was fantastic that it seems that Harry Potter Wizards are better than the real Washington Wizards. Our MVP, now we're down to 2%, has got to go to Rawadi the White Tiger. This guy who is showing up at Brooklyn Street Court games and just dominating. He seems to be the one Caucasian guy there, and he shocks everybody just draining threes. So congrats to Rawadi the White Tiger. Facepalm would have to go to the Spirit Airlines new advertisement. Their website said it with a picture of someone that looks like Richie Incognito with glasses. Don't let other airlines bully you out of flying. Fly Incognito out of Miami for just $24, or anywhere else for that matter. Flying from Spirit Airlines, but I don't know, just too soon. Although I will admit that I did laugh at this. And our Facepalm Award would have to go to any NBA team who wants to play on Christmas Day, because these are some horrible Christmas Day jerseys that we have to bear witness to. They look like oversized t-shirts with oversized logos on them. Last year's Christmas Day jerseys were so great, and now it's really disappointing. And that is our show. Big thank you to Noah Taborda for being here, helping me out with the show, live from Green Bay on our 17th episode, Rookies Roundup. Next week, we might finally be able to have our big announcement and another big show Thursday night, hopefully live from Boston, Massachusetts. We have field passes actually for tomorrow's game, so we'll be posting photos online, hoping the Packers win, trying to stay warm here. It's not going to be the easiest thing to do, but again, neither is going to Green Bay. So, live from a bathroom at the Ramada Plaza and in Green Bay, Wisconsin, this has been another fantastic show. This show just only gets better and better every single time. It's thanks to just people like you who listen in. Tell your friends, share. The power of social media cannot be underestimated. And hopefully the same goes for Seneca Wallace. Signing out from Green Bay. Thank you for listening. I'm Jake Liker, a.k.a. Rookie. Good night, and go Pack. We will see you hopefully on Thursday.